How do you mask your true identity by trying to appeal to everyone by acting different?
Your emotions at times in the heat of a moment, but really just getting involved in the student body. I mean, it really gets me involved. Yeah, by conforming to the social scene, such as seeing kids do dip and smoking and all those things. That's I just really don't see myself at I did try doing some more religious things. I didn't really feel like that was part of me. I felt like I was conforming really to what the town wants you to do. Going to other events, other social outings, such as listening to the rap music in the cars and all that. It's not really me. I mean, some kids may think it's me just based off of the demographic of the African American community, but I don't know. It's just conforming for myself to fit in with others. Some form of way, I do feel like I'm losing myself, but in others, I feel like I still will keep most of myself by just acting true to who I am.
I think a lot differently than other people. I try and downplay a lot of my thoughts, filter, because I think people would probably be really afraid of me. I just make myself laugh throughout the day, and I just don't say it out loud because other people would not laugh. It's better to be socially acceptable. I'll say what I want to who I want, but I try and just stay on the lines of socially acceptable, because it just helps you get along with people better and get closer to people. And
Elements of high school lead you to feel like you're in danger of being a social outcast.
Ignorance. Student body has a lot of ignorance. Ignorance is bliss in this country, honestly. The way the kids use around racial slurs and everything, and terms such as retard and everything, it's just awful. This is why we've heard what names can hurt. But honestly, being a minority in this school can make you feel like a social outcast at times. Me personally, as an African American in the student body of a predominantly white Republican town, makes me feel as if that moving towards a more diverse center, such as the great city of Norwalk, may be a better place, in fact.
Well, I really don't feel the fear of being a social outcast, because I feel kind of comfortable talking to anyone, and I just like making people laugh. I think that the reason most people feel the fear of being a social outcast is because they're being someone they're not, so it's hard to keep up a front. It's like when you're telling a lie, if you are continually asked about a lie, you'll start to forget what the truth was, and I think people that aren't being themselves, that's why they have so much fear, because they have to keep convincing others and themselves that they're someone they're not.
With all the dangers of drinking and teen partying, do you think the risks of it are worth it?
I do not think that the risks are worth it in the long run. I'll take risks every once in a while. I'm a teenager, it's fun. But as soon as something starts to go wrong, I'm almost always the first person to get out of the situation. And you never really know what could go wrong, and there's so many risks, but I just think that it's with partying and everything, it's not worth it with drinking and drugs and stuff, because I have so much fun even without them. So for me personally, it's really not worth it.
With teen drinking and partying, the problem isn't the actual alcohol or drinking. That's not the problem with everything. The problem is when people go a little bit overboard. Obviously you can't predict the future. You don't know what's gonna happen next. But with the teenagers that nothing bad's gonna happen. Obviously that sounds like oh shit. That's like bullshit. But you don't expect things to happen like that. So you're just living your life according to whatever. It's just like you just live for the moment.
Did you always think you'd be taken care of in life, or have you yourself planned for the unexpected?
I didn't plan that I would be taken care of. I mean, you can't really rely on other people to do things for you. So, especially with college, that now it's on you because you're gonna be an adult now. You have to go to school. You're basically doing everything yourself. You're not allowing other people to do it for you. Because you can't plan for that, it's even scarier.
Like, the unexpected comes at me all the time. And whatever I expect, I'm usually really on top of. Whatever I don't expect, I usually have, like, a friend keeping me on top of things. So, I mean, I don't really feel that I need to rely on other people, but I unexpectedly end up relying on others when, like, they help me out.
Do you find that life has a redeeming meaning or purpose, or that's all irrelevant nonsense?
I think that a lot of the things that people do are meaningless and have no actual point to them. It's only, like, in the eye of the beholder what's meaningful and what's not. But, I mean, I think the purpose of life in the end is just to be good to each other.
I think it's all irrelevant nonsense. I mean, if you look at it in very general terms, we're born, we go to school, we get a job, and then we die. So, like, obviously, if you're living your life for 80 years, you're going to do things that are relevant to you, but nothing in the broad scheme of things. Okay, so you live for 80 years, you do whatever the hell you want to, and then you die. What the hell did you do your whole life? What did you live for? I mean, if you're not leaving behind like a legacy, like all these great, like the presidents and all these great men who did stuff that people care about, but if you're just like a random nobody, you just work a 9-to-5 job, you go back to your boring wife, and then you die, and no one gives a fuck. So what's the meaning of life? There really isn't, unless you're doing something to benefit humanity, which, if you look in even broader terms, humanity's gonna end. There's no reason to anything. So, like, you just gotta do what you want to do.
Do you find meaning in the work you do or don't do in high school?
I personally don't think that, like, education and all that really means anything. Because, I mean, what's the point of learning all about the world when really, like, you come and you go? I think the whole point is just to be good to others, because no matter what, we've built up this whole system to make ourselves feel more meaningful. And even though all the education it's not really like completely necessary, it's nice to just be able to accomplish things in your life.
It's meaningless. The work that we do in high school seems they try to prepare us for things, but they're just preparing us for more preparations. So it's just a constant cycle, and it's nothing that 100% relates to your real life. Generally, all I've learned in high school is how to get away with things and how to cheat. Let's just say that you're a straight A student, you are very reliable, very honest, you do all of your work and everything, you get good grades, but obviously nobody's perfect, so you're not going to get 100. So you get good grades, and there's the other person who just takes advantage of the system. They figured out the system, they can beat the system, they figured out how to do everything with as minimal work as possible, and they get the same grades. What was all of your work for if someone who is lesser intellectually than you, or equal, I guess, if they figured out how to beat the system, but if they're not doing all the work and getting the same grade as you, what's the point? Personally, I've learned more from just reading things off the internet in my spare time than reading out of a textbook or doing homework or taking all these tests. The tests are just a way to to see how well you are at taking in all the bullshit information that your teachers are giving you. If it's not relevant to you immediately, then obviously because you're less interested, you'll do less work on it.
Overall, this project I thought was a success. However, I do think there were some particular ups and downs. Some of our interviewers represented the characters much better than others. Well, yeah.
And we found that sometimes people tended to stay on the more cutesy, cool side that we were trying to avoid. But then other times we found people getting on a more deeper level and really connecting with the characters. Like Merceau, we found that one of our people really got the essence of not really caring about life and that it really didn't have any meaning or purpose. And we could really relate that back to the characters in the book.